Welcome to the list of the top 10 best Battlebot and Robot War robots of all time. Please keep in mind that this is just my opinion of the best robots, so if your favorite robot is not on the list, take a chill pill, it'll be okay. I would, however, love to hear what you think the best robot or top 10 robots are, so be sure to comment them down below. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into it.
Number 10. Cobra.
Cobra is from Robotwars and was classified as a crusher bot, which means it has a mouth towards the front that clamps onto other robots and, as the name implies, crushes them. On top of this, the robot is also quite fast, has a decent amount of torque, and a front wedge that is sharp enough to get underneath almost any robot. If, however, Cobra is flipped over, it's no issue since he is invertible and completely comfortable driving upside down. But one issue I do have with Cobra is how small its crusher mouth actually is. It appears to be too small to latch onto other robots, which is a real shame because if it could somehow latch on, I think it could easily grapple the opponent into submission. But until that day comes or something else changes, Cobra sits at the number 10 spot on the list.
Number 9. Tough as Nails.
Like Cobra, Tough as Nails is a crusher/grappler bot from Robotwars, albeit the original series. As you can see, the whole front of the robot is one giant jaw that can clamp down on the opponent, then push it around the arena using its giant rear wheels. I love the whole concept of this robot, however I wish the wheels had more traction and or torque to help the robot overpower its opponent. If they could somehow increase the drive power of the robot and maybe even protect the rear wheels, I think it'd be quite a formidable force. But that is neither here nor there. As the robot sits in its current state, it takes up our number 9 spot.
Number 8. Chaos 2.
Chaos 2 is another old school Robotwars robot. However, unlike any other robot on the list so far, his main weapon was a flipper. Not only was he a pretty successful and powerful robot at the time, but if I'm not mistaken, I believe he was the first robot ever to flip another robot out of the arena. So that's pretty impressive. He was also somewhat of a smaller robot and extremely agile, which helped him slip in behind other robots and flip them before they had a chance to move. As a result of these things and some excellent driving, Chaos 2 did very well in the Robot Wars series, taking home a few titles and earning his place in the number 8 spot.
Number 7. Dan Tom Kia.
Dan Tom Kia. Just like Chaos 2, Dan Tom Kia was a flipper robot from the early days of Robot Wars. Designed and built beautifully, Dan Tom Kia enjoyed its fair amount of success within Robot Wars, once holding the record for the most amount of robots thrown out of the arena. And more than just a lifter, Danny Boy, which I'll now refer to him as because saying Dan Tom Kia is getting very tiring, was also quite fast, could turn sharply, and had a chassis that could take a beating, making the whole frame of the robot into quite a formidable weapon. I remember watching Danny Boy on TV as a kid, and is partly responsible for why I'm such a huge fan of flippers today. So due to that and just how awesome Danny Boy is, he rightfully earns his place at number 7 on the list.
Number 6. Razer.
Half reptilian, half robot, half bird, or however that one. It's Razer!
Another Robot Wars robot, Razer is one of the most unique and deadly robots that was in the original Robot Wars series. If you aren't familiar with Razer, he was a crusher/piercing robot. He had a very sharp, low to the ground front wedge that allowed him to drive up underneath most any robot and then pierce them, and once Razer got a hold of you, it almost never ended well. For you anyways. Now Razer did have more than his fair share of technical difficulties, but when he was properly working, you do best to stay far away. I would love to see Razer make a comeback in modern robot fighting, and I believe he did appear for one short fight in Season 8 of Robot Wars, but since armor has gotten so much thicker over the years, I do not know if he'd be as effective now as he was back then. But regardless of whether or not that's true, Razer is a fantastic robot and deserves his spot at number 6.
Number 5. Biohazard.
Biohazard is arguably the most well-engineered robot on this list, and also our first Battlebot. From what I hear, the whole robot was designed on the computer before a single piece of the robot was ever even purchased. And if it looks like it's extremely low to the ground, that is because it is. It is only 4 inches tall. Biohazard also had a metal skirt on every side of its frame, which made it extremely difficult for any other robot to get underneath him. However, if Biohazard was flipped over, he could typically self-right, and let me tell you, if you've never seen Biohazard self-right, it is something kinda spooky to watch. Biohazard is another robot I'd really love to see make a comeback, but I think he would really have to beef up his armor before he did. But regardless, I love this robot and he is definitely well deserving of the number 5 seat.
Number 4. Bite Force.
Bite Force was classified as a grappling robot, and like Biohazard is also from the TV show Battlebots, but from the reboot, not the original. And there's actually two different versions of Bite Force. There's the Bite Force that won Season 1 that has tank treads and a grabber at the front, and then there's the Bite Force that fought in Season 2 that has wheels and a small vertical spinner at the front. I'm personally a fan of Season 1 Bite Force. Bite Force did, however, have a few different interchangeable weapons that he would use from time to time. He of course had the top and bottom grabbers. Sometimes he'd go in battle with just the bottom grabbers, or he also had a thick front plate that he actually beat Tombstone with. And by beat, I mean won against, not physically assaulted. However, that may also be fitting. Oh hey look, he also had the bottom grabbers as well. Oops. Maybe I'm wrong, but it seems to me that Bite Force would be at its best with the grabber setup from Season 1 and the drivetrain from Season 2. Because it doesn't seem like it'd be that hard for a spinner to get at the treads from Season 1, but at the same time, Bite Force's spinner from Season 2 doesn't seem like it's all that powerful. But that's just my 2 cents that no one asked for. Bite Force is an awesome robot and fought his way to 4th on the list.
Number 3. Stinger.
Stinger, in my mind, is the most underrated robot of all of BattleBots, at least among the public. What people often fail to realize is not only could Stinger beat heavyweight hitting BattleBots like Tombstone, but Stinger actually already has beaten Tombstone. Just go look in the combat competitions. I got so worked up I forgot to mention Stinger is a lifter bot that will sometimes swap out his lifter for heavy plated metal wedge. And although Stinger does have a lifter, the emphasis of the robot is placed around the drive system, with the philosophy that even if your weapon breaks, you could still win the fight as long as you have a good drivetrain. A philosophy that Stinger has actually proven true several different times. Sadly though, all good things must come to an end, and I do have one major problem with Stinger. His wheels. I don't know why Stinger doesn't protect his wheels, because goodness gracious, I swear that robot would be unstoppable if he could just keep his stinking wheels on his body. If I had $1 every time Stinger was laying on the arena floor completely and fully functional, but yet he lost the fight because he didn't have any wheels left to move him around to attack the enemy, I'd have like $3. But still, I mean, goodness gracious, protect your wheels. But all that aside, Stinger is still a fantastic robot, and definitely well deserving of the number 3 spot on the list.
Number 2. Carbide.
Carbide is a very successful horizontal spinner from the reboot of Robotwars. Not only is Carbide a hard-hitting spinner, but he's also very well armored, protecting his wheels unlike certain other robots. But of all sincerity, Carbide is armored very well and can take a hit almost as good as he could dish one out. I would absolutely love to see a Carbide versus Tombstone showdown. It would be a close fight, but I think Carbide is gonna win. Carbide is also invertible and is just as deadly upside down as he is right side up. And so for all these reasons and more, I believe Carbide is perfect for our number 2 spot.
Number 1. Chromefly.
JK, I'm sorry.
Number 1. Bronco.
For those of you who are not familiar with Bronco, you disgust me. He is an ultra-powerful flipper from BattleBots. Not only is he strong enough to throw giant heavyweight BattleBots out of the arena, but he also has a heavily armored back plate that he can approach spinners with. And it's been said that he keeps the tip of his flipping arm so sharp he can peel tape off the arena floor. If that's true, that's some pretty crazy stuff. And best of all, he protects his wheels. Most of the time. Bronco doesn't really seem to have anything in the way of weaknesses and stands a pretty good chance of winning against any robot he takes on. He is definitely an extremely formidable foe and is the one to beat. And so for these reasons, he is number 1 on the list, and I believe the most dangerous and best fighting robot of all time.
Yay, first place, you won! What the heck is that? Is that supposed to be a trophy? You can keep it.
But as I said towards the beginning of the video, this is just my opinion of what I think the top 10 best robots are. So if you don't agree with my list, please comment down below and tell me what you think the best 10 robots are. And I know I could have mentioned a lot more about each bot, but I tried my best to make this video as short as humanly possible, so I only mentioned the most juiciest of information. But if you would like to know a little bit more about these robots, I'll leave some links down below for some of the coolest fights they were in. But with that being said, thank you so much for you guys watching. I hope you did enjoy this video, and if you did, please feel free to hit the thumbs up and subscribe. And Lord willing, I'll see you next time.